and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
She seems more intense.
Get loose now.
No. You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
I'm paid to get down.
We're gonna die. I don't wanna die. We didn't die!
Hey, what'd I miss?
We were just tiny!
Welcome back to another Phase 3 review. I'm Dylan Gable, and today we're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, released in 2018. The film was directed by Peyton Reed, and it stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne, and many others. Taking place after the events of Captain America Civil War, Scott Lang is on house arrest. And now he must team up with Hope Van Dyne and Hank Pym, as they must get Janet Van Dyne out of the quantum realm. Alright, so what do I think about Ant-Man and the Wasp? I think it's fine. It isn't one of the strongest films in the MCU. It's nowhere near as good as the first Ant-Man. But there are some good things to say about it. The visual effects are just as creative as ever. This movie really shines when it goes to like the visual effects stuff. It is fucking awesome. And the action sequences, while just like the first movie, it's not a very action-packed movie. Actually, I think this one has less action than the first one. When it comes to action, very creative, very inventive. I loved it when there was action and visual effects on screen. Also, Paul Rudd is just as good here as he was in the first one as Scott Lang. He's very charming and likable. And this movie has some very funny bits too. And also Michael Douglas, very good as usual. He's a great actor. Of course, you're going to get a good performance from him. And the plot was interesting enough, even though it is not the most well-written plot out there. Okay. There is not a lot to say about Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie was made just completely to be a palate cleanser after Avengers Infinity War. This movie does not offer much in terms of plot, and it's just meant to like lighten the mood. Like I said, it's not very action heavy. This movie has less action than the first one did. And the first movie wasn't very action packed either, so that definitely came as a surprise. This movie's more or less just going for comedy. And the comedy is very hit and miss at times, but when this movie's funny, it gets really funny. And let's talk about the plot. It's not very tight. It's not very full of plot, and it's also not very well written. Like at the end in the final act, they get, spoiler alert, they get Janet Van Dyne out of the quantum realm. And this movie never explains how she survived all this time. I mean, I guess Endgame kind of explains it for you, but this movie should have explained it here. It would have been a lot better if they at least would have explained it here, so it wouldn't have came off as a bit lazy. And also, some characters like really have no purpose. Like, what the fuck was the purpose of Walton Goggins being in this movie? Like, yeah, there's some plot shit around him and whatnot, but did he really have much of a purpose here? That's, I don't know, it's just kind of, my thoughts are kind of complicated on Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate this movie, it is enjoyable, but when you really dig down and fucking try to analyze this film, it does kind of fall apart a bit. Now, I already review Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, so you already know what I thought about that movie. That movie's not very good. This movie's a lot better than that. I'll say that. But yeah, when it comes to like Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's more complicated for me because I do enjoy the film, but yeah, when I go deep down, it's very, very flawed. But if you're just looking for some like, if you're just looking for a movie with like no compelling villains really. And you like if you don't care about pointless characters and very underwhelming villains and shit, if you're just there for the visual effects and the comedy and the very creative action sequences, this movie will do fine for you. It's a movie. Every time I just want to binge some MCU films, I'll put it on. I'll watch the first one over this any day, but Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's you could do far worse out there. It's not a bad way to kill 2 hours. It's just a perfectly fine, enjoyable movie. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp a B-. So what did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp? Comment below, let me know. And if you like my stuff, you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.